Hey y'all, Aaron Kirkwood, marriage and family therapist with Counseling Associates for Wellbeing in Athens, Georgia here. Coming to you live from the quarantine zone. It feels like day 737 or so of the apocalypse. It's only been about 3 weeks, but what I hear from some people is that they're going stir crazy. They got cabin fever. Uh, and so I just thought I'd do something a little different today and pass along some ideas that I have um, either seen or heard people talk about, or just things that I've sort of brainstormed on. So here's some ideas of some stuff that you might do with your time. It is important, even though we're working from home, a lot of us now, it doesn't mean that you don't take time for yourself. You don't practice self-care. You don't do things that are enjoyable, stress reducing. So here's just some ideas, and there'll be links below, by the way, for everything that I talk about here for the most part, or at least names so that you can look it up yourself. So what are some ideas? What are some things that you can do with your time that might be enjoyable, that might be productive? We have a drive, I think, as humans to be constantly improving and being productive and working on things. And so here's some ideas. If you have kids at home especially, you might do a virtual museum tour. Who knew that was a thing? You can go to virtualmuseums.io and visit a number of museums around the world virtually. Again, especially if you have kids, they might find this interesting. You might find it interesting. So that could be something that could be enjoyable, a way to sort of get outside of your normal surroundings. What else can you do? Well, believe it or not, you can help out with research right there in the comfort of your home. There's a website called Zooniverse, ZOONIVERSE. Again, link will be below, where you can actually help out with some research projects right on your computer. So you can do something that feels hopefully productive. Practice meditation. Begin, renew, or just continue a meditation practice. I'll say just a quick word about meditation and my understanding of what it is and what it does for you. So you may have this image of meditation, if you haven't done it before, as just being, you're supposed to just sit completely still and make your mind go completely blank. That's not exactly accurate as I understand it. That might be part of what you're doing, but meditation is like working out. It's like taking your brain to the gym. You are trying to purposely place your attention on something, whatever of your choosing. Very often it's the breath during meditation. And your mind, as you're doing this, is going to do what your mind does. It's just going to wander. It's going to, focus and fixate on things outside of what you're trying to focus it on. When you notice that happening, you're going to just simply notice whatever it is that you're thinking, and then move your mind back to your breath or whatever it is that you are focusing on. The fact that your mind wandered is not a failure. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to meditate or you're not doing it right. Actually, it's a good thing, because that means you get to practice moving your attention to where you want it to be. And as you do that, the more that you do that, you're actually building and strengthening neural connections in your brain to be able to do that better. So it is something that a lot of people do find some immediate relief with meditation, but it's something that if you make a habit of and you do it over a period of time, within as little as 2 weeks, you may notice a difference in maybe say how you react to things. You may notice that you're able to kind of take a breath before responding, or that your mind, when it goes to distracting, anxiety-provoking thoughts that you don't like in general, you're able to bring it back. You're able to refocus. There are a lot of great apps out there for meditation, including Calm, Headspace, or 10% Happier. These all have maybe a free trial, and then you would pay for the app. There's also one called Insight Timer that is free. So that's pretty, that's a pretty nice resource. You may not want to use an app, or you may not have a smartphone, or whatever the case, but you can always search YouTube, for instance, for meditation or guided meditation. You can just do a general web search, and you'll come up with some good free resources. But again, links will be in descriptions, maybe down in the section below. You can read a book. If you're like me, you've got a TBR, right? To be read list that's longer than you'll probably ever have a chance to get to. Even if you don't have books just laying around your home, though, you may have access to your local library. Athens, Clarke County here, for instance, has an online library, so you can check out books that way. You might want to learn a new skill, anything from learning to code a computer, or learning to cook. There are some free courses online. I'll share a couple of links below. You may pick up an old hobby or begin a new one. Maybe you dust off that guitar that you've been wanting to learn, and you'll start practicing that. Or you wanted to learn to knit or paint. There's a lot of things that maybe you got into, and then you just didn't find yourself having time, energy, or whatever to do. Well, now might be a good time to get back into that. I'll list an article below that has some ideas for some low-cost hobbies that you might take up. Some of them aren't practical right now because they involve leaving your house and going and doing things, but some would surely apply. You can take an online course. By the way, a lot of them are available for free, so I'll have 3 links below to places where online courses are offered. You play a game. The image that a lot of people have when they think of gamer, someone who's a gamer, is someone who is isolated, someone who's alone, sitting, maybe they're in a dank, dark basement somewhere. But actually, you may be a gamer yourself and not realize it. Have you ever played Words with Friends, for instance? Well, then you're a gamer. There is a neat website, free rice. So it's an organization that provides food, and by you playing games on this website, on this platform, you can help to enable them to donate food. So that's a good option. There'll be some more links below with games, and you might play these alone. You can also play with friends online. As I mentioned earlier, something like Words with Friends, but there's a lot of different options and a lot of different choices. And the great thing about gaming, and I will admit I am a gamer, the great thing about it is it can really take you out of your current state and help kind of transform you, at least for a little while, into another state of mind, another time, another place. And by the way, again, this is not a solo endeavor. You can absolutely play lots of different types of games with friends. You don't just have to play video games, which is what I've just been talking about, but board games are another great option. There are so many board games out there. The go-to classics that Monopoly, Scrabble, Yahtzee, things like that. But there are also newer games that are based on some strategy that you can play actually together. So rather than it being a competitive endeavor, there are games that you can play, board games that you can play with your friends. Take, for instance, a game like Pandemic. It's pretty topical right now, and you work together with friends to prevent and cure diseases. Look that one up if you haven't seen it. It's pretty neat. Here's an interesting idea. You could write a letter to a friend or a loved one. When was the last time you got a letter in the mail? I could just about bet that it's been a long time. So why don't you write a good friend or a loved one, someone who is maybe in a different city, or even in your same house? You could write a letter and send it off, and imagine your loved one there getting a letter from you, even though you live in the same house. It could be kind of neat. Maybe you've got pets like me, and by the way, what a wonderful treat to have them in our lives in this time where we have to be home all the time, and see that they hopefully appreciate your presence. But you could teach your pet a new trick. I'll link to some good dog training videos and even a cat training video down below. People don't realize big cats can be trained. What else can you do? Maybe you'll make up your own games or challenges. For instance, you can do this alone, or you can do this with friends and family members, in person or virtually. You might see how many M&Ms or how many pieces of popcorn you can throw up and catch in your mouth at a time. Now I'm going to try this. I may be successful, I may not, but let's see. Missed. Okay, 0. If you're playing along at home, you got an advantage already. Hey, there we go. Got it that time. So yeah, you might, maybe you even want to team up. Have 4 people in your house. You have 2 teams of 2 and try to catch it in each other's mouth. So what other kind of games and challenges can you think of? Maybe you want to spin a plate. I'd probably be good with a plastic, not a glass or ceramic plate, but maybe you want to spin a plate and see how long you can keep it spinning. There's a ton of ideas out there on the internet. If you have a need to help out in this time, you can actually go to serve Georgia, servega.gov, and volunteer. If you're a medical professional, you're definitely needed, but non-medical professionals are needed as well. So there's an opportunity to do something, to make a difference, to help out. So these are just a few ideas. There's lots more, I'm sure. If you think of something that I didn't mention, feel free to leave it in the comments below. It may help someone else out. Y'all, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Be kind. Try to find ways to connect. We are all driven by a need for connection. So even if you are living alone, try to find ways to connect. Reach out. Talk to loved ones. Talk to strangers. I had a transaction that I did online recently, and there would be a delay in shipping, and the person selling me this let me know. Now, this was an individual, this wasn't a company, and so, I took some time to ask how things are going for them. This person's in Europe. Hey, how are things going for you? Just a small connection, but we can all find little ways to connect like that. So, y'all, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, again, just see down below, and I hope you all are well. Hope your family's well. Take care.